something that happened in college. Because I just want you to hear me. When he's truly pursuing Jesus, that's a turn off. Mm-hmm. Like I'll never forget. I was at Baptist Student Ministry and they were having like cookies one day. I was in college, and there was this one girl. She was kind of eyeing me, and I walked up and I wanted seconds. I said, "Yeah, can I get some cookies?" She said, "If you take me to homecoming, I'll give you all the cookies you want." And immediately in my mind, I was like, "Okay, I'm not talking to her anymore. I don't want the cookies.
No thanks. I don't want those cookies."
And she was an attractive girl, but in my mind, I heard she's gonna activate the war you're trying to defeat right now.
Yes.
Because I was trying to purify myself.
Yes.
And so I just don't want ladies to mislabel it. This is what brothers have said in our small groups. I'm learning how to pursue godly. I'm not passive. Mm-hmm. I just know how I used to pursue.
Yes.
So now I'm looking at you not because I'm afraid, but I'm trying to see fruit, number one.
Right.
And number two, I'm trying to detox from how I used to do when I would see a woman of God. So sometimes he's not passive, he's observing.
Yes.
Because wives you observe, freaks you pursue quickly.
Yes.
Okay?
Repeat that one. Just repeat that.
Wives you observe, freaks you pursue quickly.
Yeah.
I can see if you're a freak. Oh, she down for whatever. I'll take all the invitations and then go ghost on you. That's how a lot of...
All right, what do you think about what this young man said?
Well, first of all, I said when I first heard the whole cookies things, it would have been different if she was selling, makeup.
It wouldn't make sense if she was selling.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. She was selling cookies. She necessarily might not have been offering up her cookies. She might have really thought, I don't have a date for the homecoming. If you go to the homecoming with me, you can have these free cookies on the table. Sure, no, have as many as you want.
No, there's only two options. Either she was talking about her cookies, or she was just saying, I'll make you more cookies if you want. I think that's all she meant.
That's what I meant.
It's possible.
That's what
but we weren't there. She could have said it in a very flirty way.
She probably sitting around watching this like, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Why would he go up and say that? And I know that feeling. I've had that person that I didn't think was listening to the show call me back and be like, why would you share that information on the show? Like,
okay, but what do you think about the rest? I think you got hung up on the cookies. What about the rest of it?
Now the rest of it was honestly, I would say maybe he judged that situation too quickly.
You still hung up on the cookies?
No, because he said she was attractive, right? So in his mind, he's like, you're activating the war that I'm trying to defeat, right? What was activating the war?
He felt that if she was really talking about her cookies and not the cookies, that she would be a temptation for him when he was trying to be pure. There's people you probably come across when you were single, where it's like, this person is not a potential partner for me. They are they want what I'm trying not to give. Yeah. That's really all they want. Yeah. So stay away. That's all he's saying.
Yeah, but I would say this too, just this is total transparency. As a virgin, I just used it as a form of flattery. That was it. I was flattered by it. I didn't want to. I did date the loose girls or whatever, but I was just flattered that they were interested in me. Because here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I was very insecure in high school. In high school, I had acne, glasses, and braces. Right, and I was really, really skinny. And when I got to college, my first year of college, my first week of college, the acne was gone, the braces were gone, and I was wearing contacts. I felt real good. I went to a college where the ratio was 25-1. So I got a lot of attention, and it was flattering.
You said the transformation.
The transformation.
You got a
transformation.
Yeah. It was my ugly duckling phase. I went through that, and I kind of came out of that, and I felt good about it. So I got a lot of attention. And that was the thing, though. It was flattery. It was like, this makes me feel good. This makes me feel better. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the girls that I entertained that were like that were bad in character, and that's all they wanted. They needed somebody to show them a different side. Like, I remember one young lady saying, like, I've never had a study partner in my dorm room that just wanted to study. this is kind of cool. And I was like, all right, cool. Showed her something new. She had distrust in men, but then all of a sudden she was able to trust again.
And you set her up for failure.
Set her up for failure.
Because the next one probably didn't do that.
Probably not.
So
at least she knew it was possible.
This is why I'm saying you hung up on the cookies, because this clip had nothing to do with the cookies. The point of the reason
just the clip.
No, the reason this clip was submitted was because at the end he said, guys are not passive. They're watching to see if you are.
Oh, but I addressed that on the call, and I said that's
we're on
not
the show now. We got to do that part.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true.
You got hung up on the cookies. So, what do you think about that? Because the allegation is that men like us were passive. So these young ladies are out here, and they're like, "Why doesn't he approach me? Why?"
No, that is absolutely true. We were passive.
So you disagree with him?
I disagree with him. Yeah. It's cool if you want to tell yourself that, but deep down there's a fear. I mean, any man in this chat tell me I'm wrong, but there's a fear about being rejected by the woman of God who you've been seeing at church for a couple of Sundays now, and you go up and you introduce yourself. Getting rejected that way feels totally different than getting rejected at the mall.
Okay, so there's young ladies out there that are like, I'm waiting on my husband. I'm doing everything God wants me to do. There are young men that I see that are living that life, but they won't come up to me. You're saying they're not coming up not because of what he said. What he said was they're evaluating. They're trying not to be like they were, where they were just used to holler at girls. They're trying to evaluate, be cautious, and make sure that you are a woman of God. You're saying they're not doing that. You're saying they're scared.
If you're evaluating her, you're evaluating just her looks. If you're not talking to her,
not if they're at your church. You could see what ministry she's in. You can see how she talks to other people. You could evaluate people.
Weird. You just standing back listening and conversation.
No, you just in passing. You could see, that young lady, she's serving in the youth ministry. You know what I mean?
I still feel like there's got to be some type of interaction in your pursuit of that.
Right, but what they're saying is these men are not coming up to us.
That's what I'm saying. I did not approach my wife. I knew who my wife was before I met her, but I was afraid.
You were afraid?
Yeah, I was afraid. What, I'm going to go up to her and all of a sudden just get rejected in front of everybody? And then not be able to
do it in front of everybody.
And not be able to work my way through the rest of the church? Just kidding. I wanted to just draw some humor in there. No, but I mean, that was seriously
he's not kidding.
No, I'm saying. Everybody knows I'm joking with that statement.
Okay.
No, I went to a church where the church was 40,000 members, and out of that 40,000, I was there for 15 years before I met my wife. So I only talked to 2 different people, and my wife was one of them. Mm-hmm. So no, I wasn't working my way through the church. I was being for real, but I was terrified. I was terrified of that.
Joseph King said he got rejected in middle school, been passive ever since. Thank God my wife was more aggressive.
That's him?
Joseph King says that.
And the same thing. My wife came into a conversation where I was talking, and she inserted herself in the conversation.
And that gave you permission to talk to her?
No, it didn't. It gave me permission. You still
didn't talk to her?
I did. I talked to her.
That's what I'm saying. She did that so that you could start talking to her.
I answered her question.
Yeah,
I did not pursue any type of other situation until social media happened.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. The point is she presented herself to you. That gave you the confidence to actually talk to her, and then things led on from there.
I turned to her and she says, my name is LaToya. Nice to meet you. And I said, yeah, I know who you are. She's like, oh, you do? And I said, yeah, I saw you in the youth ministry, blah, 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 that sort of thing, right? But in that moment, I didn't think this conversation is going good. Let me ask for her number. I was like, nah,
matter.
Bump that.
The point is the conversation was started and she helped you. You didn't just holler at her.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she had to help me.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably be single to this day if she didn't help me. But the reason being is that, and she helped me a lot more than she thought, because I went on Facebook and I gave her a friend request. And what she did was she made a comment that made me think, okay, now it's okay to ask for the number. And so when I asked for the number, I was still in that process of, do I give her a call? When does she want me to call her? Because I was always told, I get a phone number and I'm calling the next day, and that's not right. I was like, whatever. But she was like, hey, here's my number. I'll be up for a couple of more hours. That meant call today.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody's heard this story, but me and my wife, we talked on the phone for 8 hours that day, and that's the night I knew she was my wife. I knew at that point. And
then the next week she was your wife.
Yeah, she was. She was the next week. Yep.
But anyway, it was super fast.
It was super fast.
But why didn't you? You said you knew she was.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go holler at her before that day?
I was afraid.
So is your recommendation to these young ladies who are asking?
So my wife was out of my league.
Okay.
But see, that's because of the insecure guy in high school. I never got over that.
So, but my point is for the young ladies that are like, he's not talking to me, he's not approaching me. Is your recommendation you need to help him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need to make it obvious. Alfie made it obvious, and we had to tell you, bro, wake up. Alfie made it obvious, right? So it was like you would come back and say to us, well, she said this, or she thought this, or she did this. And we were like, no, that's a sign. I remember being on three-way with you. Yeah. That's a sign. Yeah. So she made it obvious. Young ladies can make it obvious, but they don't have to be...
Don't throw yourself.
...aggressive, right? Let's go, Jerry. Let's hear it.
No, because if you sit back and you look at the ratio of men to women in the church, and if
all
all the women are like trying to shoot their shots to the one guy, then he may not want them. You know what I'm saying? He may be looking for somebody else. So that would be very awkward if you're a single guy in church and all the women are just
start
like,
making it obvious.
Yeah, like throwing shots at
man,
you.
this is a thirsty church.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even know. Okay, that is the issue. That is definitely the issue because the ratio is so bad. Like a member of our team told us they went to a conference where it was 226 women and 6 guys.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a room. That's a room.
Yeah. So I think to Jerry's point is there's an art to making it obvious. You don't flirt with the guy. You can create meetings. Like your wife created a meeting.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what I wasn't there, but she didn't have to like be like all that kind of stuff.
She didn't
just create the meeting. And then if he's interested, it's up to him.
She was coming over to talk to her friend that I was already in conversation with. So she stood by quietly and waited on us to finish. But then I was just like, I just started my master's program. And she was like, oh, what master's program are you in? I'm in the master's program too. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm in business administration. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. What school? So she kind of like got the conversation going. And then she was like, by the way, my name is LaToya. And I said, yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah, there's ways to, without looking like you're thirsty, create opportunities for yourself.
There's definitely ways
But
to that.
remember, I do think he's right about one thing.
Yeah.
There are guys who are men of God who are watching to see.
Absolutely.
Are you presenting yourselves to every Negro that you see?
Yeah.
Because then that would make me think that you're not necessarily looking for me. You're looking for a guy. I'm not a guy. I'm Sean. Yeah. I want to know that you saw something special about me. Not that you just want a dude, so you just present. Oh, okay, you? Okay. I don't want that. You see what I'm saying?
But I don't know any guys where that's their story. Every guy I know met their wife through some sort of, has admitted to me that they were afraid of some sort, or they were unsure in a way. You see what I'm saying? So they were unsure and needed some extra help. It wasn't
right. But if there's a young lady that you were looking at like this, I like how they are. Or they're beautiful, but then you see them flirt with this dude at church and that dude at church and then that one at church and then that one and then they get to you and then they do the next one, then the next one. You're gonna be like, oh, I feel special. I'm gonna go talk to her.
No, but I've never seen that happen. So that's what I say. Like,
but I mean, it's
hard to think about that.
Even using this scenario that we just used, and if you go back to the last subject that we talked about, say he was the choir leader and he was so used to just people just coming on to him. And then that was probably a trigger for her to be able to say something like, you can have my cookies, and if you carry me to homecoming, you can have my cookies. So that was probably like, and he's trying to work on himself. He's trying to be a better man and not just to sleep with everybody in the church.
That was too aggressive.
Then that was too aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the cookie she was referring to.
Everybody disagrees with you.
I don't think so. But y'all said on the call, like there was people on the call that said I didn't think that at first either.
It's possible.
I mean, it was
but we
probably
weren't
the
there.
way that she came across and said it too. But
Yeah,
you know,
you on the call saying that, right?
but
And
when
you gotta know what cookies means.
yeah,
You definitely know what
Yeah,
cookies mean.
yeah.
She at least should have been like, "That's not what I don't
Right,
need."
right,
you know,
right,
you got to
right,
clean
right.
it up. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you got to clean that up.
Yeah, I would imagine that was taken out of context. I think there would have been, unless he didn't tell us the full story of what she said or how she said it, or if he doesn't remember clearly how she said it. Because I would imagine if it was that way, it would have been like, you can have this cookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it would have been a little bit more obvious than these are. There's chocolate chip cookies, there's sugar cookies, there's red velvet cookies, there's
You're thinking about this way
all
too
these
hard.
cookies on the table. She's selling cookies.
You saying that could have been his wife and he passed up a good thing?
It could have been, but I mean, I don't know. The Lord would allow you to pass on your wife if that's who He meant for you to have.
Right.
But what I'm saying was, he might have misjudged this situation. She's selling cookies, y'all. She's selling cookies. And he didn't say whether or not it was the church. He didn't say whether or not it was school. I'm assuming it was school if it was homecoming, right? If it's college, it's a fundraiser, right? It's a whole bunch of different things that this could have been. That's why I'm just like, bro.
You can have my cookies whenever you want.
That's not what you said.
It was something like
That's
that.
not. You can have all the cookies you want.
That's what it meant to him.
You can have all the cookies.
Meaning, you take me to homecoming, and I'm not charging you for these cookies that's on the table.
That's what it meant to him.
So now you see how naive me and Ryan were growing up, and that why we needed so much help. Because you could have said that to us, and we would have been like, "No, she's just talking about cookies."
Let me tell you,
she don't
how
like
many-
me. We needed to be convinced.
Let me tell you how many conversations I've had after the fact where people were like, "That girl was hitting on you," and I'm like, "She was?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that."
Sorry.
So yeah, completely missed it. I had a lot of, and then it's funny because Sean would always tell me, "You got a lot of inappropriate relationships with women," and I'd be like, "They're my how?
Like,
They're my friends."
They're your friend. You are not their friend. That's the truth.
Yeah.